right, guys. Welcome back to the Bait Tank Podcast. Today, we have a fantastic guest. We have Edward from Duran's Fishing Products. How are we doing, Edward?
Here. We're good. Glad to be here.
Dude, thanks for coming
the
down,
podcast.
man.
Gotta get it out there.
Yeah, this is our first one that we're doing video, right? So we're
under
under
the
the
video
microscope.
setup.
Absolutely.
All good.
So, you're a local company in the space.
Yep.
How did you get into fishing?
So I guess started with my uncle. He'd take me out on like sport boats back like out of Davy's Locker. Small trips, just like half days, full days. And then, from there, just did like pier fishing. But I was like 12, 13 at the time. So I didn't really have any money to like buy my own setups, do anything. And then, as I got older, I kind of stopped for like, until probably I got a job, to like 19, 20. And then, once we got a job, I had some money to spend, did the pier fishing thing all over again. Started going to the pier, started fishing more. From the pier went to, sport boats again. Sport boats, like offshore trips, overnights, day and a half. And then, from there, just you get addicted. Then you got my own boat, got my kayak boat, bigger boat. So now we're climbing up the ladder.
Everybody in fishing, we all start somewhere doing that.
Just start somewhere.
When you first got into it, like when your uncle first took you on those trips, were you like obsessed with it, or you were just kind of like, oh, this is a cool
he
thing?
just took me out, and I was just like, all right, we'll get out there, catch like barracuda at Catalina. But this was back when there was like, you'd go to the island, Catalina, and you caught like, the fish counts like 200 yellowtail, but they're all like, little rat-sized yellow. So I got my first one. I don't know what year it was, but I got my first yellow. It was probably just like this big. I had like a spinning setup. And but I wasn't really like hooked onto it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't say like, oh damn, I'll do this forever. But eventually once I did get that was when I went tuna fishing, and I was like, damn, this is fun. You gotta keep going out there and keep fishing, and that's how I ended up there.
What is it, like an overnight trip that you went to?
Yeah, I mean overnight, and then you go for like when you're catching all the yellowfin and skipjack.
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn, it's a freaking rush. You could just catch them like when they're biting anything. You just throw anything out there, hook them, land them, and then, and I just keep it going. So, that's when I don't know what year that was, but, I was doing probably every weekend, just overnight trips. Because I had work Monday through Thursday.
Yeah. I
get off on Thursday and then just go straight to San Diego, do like a overnight or whatever, day and a half. And then, man, I just keep catching tuna. Tuna's my thing. I'm not the best fisherman, but get out there, make it happen.
For sure,
for tuna and stuff.
And then when you got what was your first boat that you had?
My first boat. Well, I guess you want to go kayak.
Okay.
My first kayak was like a Lifetime Walmart kayak.
Nice.
So we started with that, me and my buddy Sergio, and then we would start. We would go just local to Newport. Well, it's funny. Our first time we went, we didn't know where to launch the kayaks. So we always thought like, okay, the jetties, like prime fishing locations, like we want to fish the jetties, along the rocks. But we didn't know where to launch. So he told me, he's like, oh, I know a spot. So we launched by like the little island pretty much. That it's like, you know where the island is?
Yeah. Are you talking?
Pretty much by the
Ferris wheel?
Yeah.
Okay,
where the
Bay
Ferris
Island.
Wheel. Yeah. So we'd like launch right there. And then we thought the best place to go fishing was like all the way to the jetty. But we didn't know how far it was. So we're just paddling for like, who knows how long, to fish the jetty. And then like all we caught was a bass and a mackerel between us both.
That's awesome.
It was horrible. And then we had to, come all the way back in. And then now after that, we saw we could launch by the, what is it? At the very end of the street, there's a little
public dock.
Yeah. That little like public or private public beach right there. So now we just throw the kayaks there and then go out. But it was that was the first kayaks. And then once we did all the kayak fishing, we went to La Jolla and those things.
Oh wow.
And then our same funny story, go to La Jolla our first time. We just like, you see all the YouTube videos, you're like, oh damn, everyone's getting yellows on like the yo-yos and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, we could try it too. So we went, took our little kayaks, and we had no fish finder, like no nothing. We were just out there drifting and like have a squid on the bottom. Like we know we're not gonna catch a yellowtail, so let's fish the bottom. And damn, we were just drifting like further and further out, and then like till finally, all right, let's go back. And oh my god, it took us probably like 2.5 hours to like paddle back. And it was just like you're paddling for like an hour and like the scenery's not changing, and it was just like it was all bad. It
You know,
was
I saw some guys out this year on kayaks, all that bluefin stuff. I actually saw
oh
you
yeah,
down
they were.
there out front of
Oh yeah, we were
Oceanside.
out there. That
And
was a fun time.
there was right on that drop off in Oceanside, a couple
Yeah,
times I saw kayaks out there at like 6:30. And
yeah.
these
No,
guys
that
are
is.
like 4 miles off the beach. And I'm like, dude, you're paddling in the dark.
Yeah,
You're
no,
not
these
getting home
guys
till
are.
it's dark.
There's some kayakers, man. They get out there, and unless you have like a little motor that helps you out, or a Hobie that you could start
Yeah.
like pedaling. But if you're with your arms there paddling, god damn, it's it's a workout.
That's funny, man.
But yeah, no, from the lifetime kayak, I was like, all right, I have time to upgrade. So I did end up getting a Hobie. I never thought I would get one, but sure enough, like you go out enough times, you're like, all right, I'm tired of paddling. Like I'll spend the money, get a Hobie. So yeah, I got a Hobie and then fished a little more. Didn't fish too much on it. And then from there, I did get my first yellow at La Jolla on my Hobie. And I was like, one morning, just wake up. I went by myself, went solo, get out there. And like, yeah, 7 in the morning, just threw a yo-yo out and then just hooked up. I hooked the Barracuda first, and the next cast just like hooked the yellow, landed it. And I was back home by like 9. So it was just,
What a great feeling to
yeah,
go.
it was because I had been probably like 12 or 10 times prior to that, and just you don't catch anything, you just get skunked super bad. And like you wake up early, load the kayak, unload the kayak.
You're covered in sand.
Yeah, it was bad, but then landing that one yellow like makes it all worth it. So it was cool. And then from there upgraded to, well, I guess once I started my business, then I had more money. Got my first boat. It was a 17-foot whaler.
Nice. Montauk.
Yeah, Montauk.
Very cool.
And then just fished that for about a year. And then now I have the Grady I have now, the 21-foot.
And you love that boat.
Yeah, I mean, it's a damn boat, so it's just like it's good. It's a good size for here. It has like an 80-gallon tank.
Nice.
So I get like 3 to 4 miles per gallon. So I have 200 plus mile range. Get wherever I want. But it is, once you're out there and you spend like you want to go offshore fishing, it's like you feel it. You feel on the way back. You got to pick your days, but
for sure,
it does the job for the most part.
Grady Whites are nice boats. They're very built for offshore fishing.
Yeah,
the hinges. You look at the hinge. The fit and finish is great.
Yeah,
especially
they're
the older
solid
ones.
boats for sure. But yeah, I want to upgrade. We'll see when. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Just having a boat, it's a nightmare. It's always something breaking.
I think I would fish more if I didn't have a boat. If I just went on
you think
charters
so?
and I just went out, that's what I tell myself.
Yeah,
But
nah, for me, I'm the opposite. If I didn't have mine, I probably wouldn't get out there as much as I want. I used to like going on the sport boats, but then like the diesel fumes just like they mess me up. I don't
Really?
know. Yeah, so I kind of stay away from the sport boats. But I mean, I used to go out all the time and I was fine, but I would get a little like I don't know, seasick, I guess. But
Yeah.
it's the fumes that just like mess me up.
diesel and saltwater, when that mixture hits
Yeah,
the air,
no, it's tough, man. That's why once I got my own boat, it's like you just go out and you just do it in a day. It's nice to get out when you want. That's a lot harder though. Oh my god, if you don't know what you're doing out there, you just waste your time. It's a lot of time on the water though.
yeah.
Got to put in the hours.
It is rewarding though, almost going back to when you were on the kayak and you caught that yellowtail.
Oh
when
yeah,
you,
no.
when you go out on your own boat and it's just your buddies, you leave whatever time you want and
Yeah, you kind of just do your own thing.
you just do your own thing. It's fun.
But then you gotta do your own thing, but then you're also responsible for you're out there to catch fish, and that's the learning curve, the big learning curve. You gotta figure it out. A lot of networking though I've noticed is just knowing people, trying to get the best intel possible, and then make the best of your day on the water.
Sometimes, sometimes like trusting people's intel, it's almost better to go with your gut. And they may have caught him there yesterday, but if your gut's telling you to go somewhere especially for our offshore fishing,
you got to get out.
You got to
there.
trust your gut. You got to go, unless it's been there for like 4 days straight and they're on them.
Man, for me, it's I'm not my gut doesn't tell me they're right there. I trust my gut. I don't catch anything. So. I don't know. I know there's other people better than I am at fishing, so I try to listen to what they got to say. But
I like it.
Yeah, this year was tough though, fishing wise for me. We got out there a few times. We caught some like small ones.
Yeah.
That day you saw me in Oceanside. We hooked a big one, but it popped off.
Just pulled the hook.
I don't even know what. Yeah, I think we just pulled the hook. It was on a popper, and then yeah, it just came off. I felt like I snagged it though, because I threw it right in the middle of the foamer,
Oh yeah.
and then that thing was just like dumping the reel. It was on a trank, so it was just going, and then yeah, we fought it for like 15, 20 minutes, and then it just popped off. I'm like, damn,
Dang.
never hooked another one. So
I like if it's good foam, like it's white water. I see
yeah, it's
fish's
staying
backs
up.
coming out of the water. It's good. I'll pick up my heavy setup
Yeah.
and I'll lock my drag on 100-pound braid to a 250-pound crimp leader,
Oh
and I
yeah.
lock the drag. So if I snag a fish, it pops off right away. It may ruin the
Oh,
foamer.
you don't,
The
yeah.
foamer goes down, but I like to lock that drag because I know if it doesn't pop off in the first 30 seconds,
Yeah, you'll land. You'll have a good chance of landing it.
because it's the worst fighting a
Right.
fish. All your buddies are sitting around watching you, especially a
Yeah,
snag
that's
fish.
exactly what happened.
Takes so long to fight
Yeah,
a snagged fish. Even an 80-pounder fights like a 250.
yeah, and once you get them in that weird spot, it's just,
It's right behind the pec fin. If
yeah.
you
And you
snag
can't
one
even
right
turn
behind
their
the
head too, so you
exactly,
feel it when
yeah.
you're pulling, like their head's not like turning, so it's a bad time.
So how did you get into the industry of what
Making
you do?
stuff.
Maybe explain what you do first.
So what we make is just pretty much CNC machine fishing products. It's really general, but I guess I get into the specifics. We make like a reel clamp. That's kind of what got me started. So as I got like fishing more seriously, so I've been a machinist my whole life. We have a family-owned business. We do metal fabrication and like a little bit of CNC machining. So and then after that, I saw that there was so many in fishing. There's so many parts that are machined and like this and that. So then I bought a setup. I bought two seeker rods, and I needed to mount, I don't know, some reel on there. So I saw the clamps that were out there, and I was just like, yeah, I could make it myself. So I've always thought that way, like for everything that I've made. It's like I could probably just make it myself. So then, where I was working, I was kind of getting over just working the, 10-hour shifts. I think we just did 4 10-hour shifts,
Nice.
and we have the Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. And yeah, you just kind of get over it. And like I knew I always wanted to make something. I just never knew what. And then eventually, yeah, I just you know was fishing seriously. I needed a reel clamp, so I was like, oh, let's dive into it, see what I can make. So I started making just the little like backing plates, like
Mhm.
just the clamp itself, that you could just I just put my name on it, so I thought it was cool. And then eventually I was like, okay, let's get the system going to see how I can make what's out there better or just make it myself. So and then yeah, I noticed that there were so many different sizes for the clamp, but all it is just like longer and shorter. So I'm like, all right, we'll just put a slot, and then that covers, that compensates for the length of the.
You're talking about this top part
Yeah,
here.
so this thing just slides. So that's what makes it a little different. Is it slides, and then yeah. So once I started this clamp, well, we had this is our like our final version, but back then we had just like a simpler version. And then yeah, I made the one clamp. I got it to work on the reel, and then I was convinced that that was better than like anything else out there. So I was like, all right, so I think I could probably quit my job and then just focus on, or I told my boss that I wanted to work lesser hours, like part time pretty much, and then I'll focus more on this. And then we just had one CNC machine at my parents' shop. So and then yeah, I started making these. I'm trying to remember how I started like trying to sell them. I think I just started an Instagram page and then just like BD Outdoors, go through there. And then, yeah, I remember once I had the final design, I just went to a bunch of places. It wasn't the most professional thing. I just like went and like, yeah, I have this reel clamp. Would you guys be interested in like carrying it?
Knocking doors. I
Yeah,
like it.
so
Yeah.
it was funny how I think about it. I had to start somewhere. So I didn't know what to do,
100%.
but that's how I just like dove straight into it. And then there was really no interest at first because I was like kind of like a kick in the balls. I'm just like, oh, damn, what do I do? Like, I know it's better than everything else. I just need to work on getting it out there. But,
So one thing I've noticed about previous clamps, you had to buy a clamp per reel,
yeah,
right?
yeah, so
There wasn't a clamp like this, so it's adjustable.
yeah, that could
um,
fit. One fits pretty much all of them. So.
Yeah, there'd be a wall of different clamps, and you'd pick, okay, I have a
Yeah.
Trinx 500. I need a Trinx 500 clamp.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my big thing. I had Alexa
cool.
400, and then I noticed, I had to buy Alexa 400 clamp, and then I had a Trinidad, and I can't use them. I'm like, what the hell? Why can't I use them? And then yeah, once I came up with this design, it was really cool. Also, so it's also meant for. So another big problem was you couldn't mount a bait caster on like an Alua. Those are like really fat butt rods. Like those clamps would only go to like, let's say, an inch and a quarter. So it's like you try to mount it, but the screws aren't long enough and like the frame's not long enough. So here we like machined it out so the whole spacing's a little wider. So we're able to mount. So I only have two sizes. I have this size. I didn't bring the other one, the mini clamp, but two sizes covers from inch. This covers inch and an eighth all the way to inch and a half, and the mini size is inch and an eighth to like a little over 3/4, like 7/8.
Now, does spreading out? I see a lot of guys still fish jig sticks. You know, maybe they don't know. Does spreading out, like if you take a traditional reel clamp and just put that backing plate on, your reel pivots. Does spreading this out eliminate that problem?
I mean, it helps it out for sure. I mean, you're grabbing the front of the reel and the back instead of just like the center of the reel. So it definitely does help it out. And especially with like a Tranx that doesn't have, I mean, that's what like these clamps are mostly geared towards is, you know, a Tranx like bait casting setups, or if you lose the screws, or if you have an Alua and then the screws are too long or the screws aren't wide enough to wrap around the butt of the rod, like this solves the issue. Then we came out with our mega clamp here. So it's this one just helps spread out the pressure, and it's more economical. And that one you just use the stock screws that come with the reel. You just take off the existing backing plate, you just slap that one on there, and then
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so that solves it right there.
Exactly so that's that one definitely helps, you know, spread out the pressure. Also there's like a slot, add a trigger on there. And then, I mean, pretty much all the stuff I come up with is just stuff that's, you know, out there already that I see I can make and improve. So that's how we came up with, you know, this one. That's how we came up with this one. So it's pretty cool to, just keep making new stuff, see what's out there. And
so what was the first lure that you made?
The first lure was the surface iron. So this is our Model 2, but I made a Model 1. The Model 1, yeah, it's been a while. But, yeah, so that one, it just kind of, I saw other people making like surface irons, and there's only like 2 or 3 companies, probably a little more, making them at first. And then, yeah, same thing. Like I have the machines, I have the knowledge, I have everything. So I was like, I might as well make one. I'm already started. So like, once I got the clamps going, I'm like, okay, I need to find, you know, then eventually I left my job to make my clamps. So then eventually I'm like, all right, I got to come up with more stuff. So I had like a whole like list in my head, like an idea in my head of what I wanted to make. And then, yeah, you just start knocking them out one by one. So once I made the lures, they were still pretty new at the time. So there was more like hype around them. So now there's like anyone can make them. And they're super like easy to make for the most part. And it seems like that's going to be the way to go, you know, going forward. You know, you buy the molded ones, sometimes they'll break on you, or they're all different. And the machine ones are just like, you know, pretty straightforward. Pop them in the machine, they come out all the same. Put a nice paint job on it, and they'll last. You know, they should last you till you lose your, till it goes flying off. Or
I've lost a lot of them.
I know, right?
I've lost a lot of your jigs. One thing that I wanted to point out that I really like is, for me, I like all my setups when I go tuna fishing. I basically tie on everything the same every single trip. So I know I can grab this and it's got this on it. I grab this, it's got this on it. What I like about your jigs is it's a very consistent swim pattern.
Yeah.
You don't get I need to alter any jiggle swim. You just have to find the right speed and everything.
Yeah.
I know I can pick up this
swim out the
jig. It'll swim out the box how I want it to. Like, you know, other guys.
Yeah, no, you got it down, man. You probably caught the most fish on my jigs before, so that's it's cool to see and talk to you. Hear that you're the man.
But I know how it works.
Yeah,
and I know what I like to do with it and the conditions. When I see, you know, for tuna especially, there's a certain time where I like to throw a surface iron for tuna versus a subwalker versus a popper. It's when I see them doing that little jump out of the water thing, and they're a little spread out. There may be one hard line where you can see the fish foaming. Instantly, my brain just clicks on surface iron. Okay, this is surface iron. And I've tried rigging them different ways. I've tried cutting these hooks off, doing an assist hook. I did an assist hook here before. I did
nice. You got to mix it up.
A bigger treble. The best thing that's worked for me, the best swim, what I've caught the most fish on is just the stock treble hook. I haven't bent one out too bad. Yeah,
man, they're good hook. They're used mustad, so it does take quite quite a lot of pressure to bend one out, but I mean, it eventually will happen. But but they're good hooks though.
We had a day off the east end of Catalina. This was like 2 years ago,
Yeah,
where we went out the day before. It was on all by ourselves. Amazing. Went out the next day. I took my dad, my buddy, and his dad.
Yeah.
And we just had all surface irons tied on.
Oh damn.
We go out there, we catch a few fish, and a storm is coming in. So, hey, we're in my little Cabo. I had a 21 Cabo.
Oh yeah, I remember
I was like,
that thing.
we got to race in. We're done fishing at 11. I don't care if there's 150-pound foamers. We're done.
Out of there.
We're coming back in. And like the fish we caught were like 40 to 60, like
Yeah.
perfect casting lure
Yeah,
grade
just
fish.
have fun on those fish.
We're coming back in. It's a spot of just giants, like
Oh,
all
yeah.
over 120, 150. They're going full out of the water. It's like, I know if you throw it in, it's an insta bite. We pull the boat up slowly. We didn't pull the boat slowly. We just raced right up next to it,
Yeah.
and they stayed up perfect. And I'm looking at my buddy. I'm looking at the wind. I'm looking around, and I was like, "Did I make a cast?" We already had we had plenty of fish on board, and my buddy's like, "Nah." I was like, "I can't not make a cast."
Yeah, you gotta try it.
So like they're still going just crazy 10 feet from the boat. So I
Yeah.
grab a Talica 16, like full of 80-pound braid,
Yeah.
one of your jigs on there. I wing it out, and the iron may still be in orbit. How
You just
far
sent
it
it
just
out.
broke off. It broke off on the cast, and I was like, well, that decides it. We're
Yeah,
not fishing
that's
these
it.
ones. We just kept rolling. It was
That's
hilarious.
Yeah, there are expensive jig to lose, but they're worth it though. They're for sure.
For
the
me,
new way
it's
to go.
for me, it's like I put so much time and prep into a trip that it's like if I'm not fishing what I want, and it's a regular surface iron is what, $15?
Yeah, like 15.
What's the
bucks.
price on your jig? 30,
30, 24. It depends on the paint you have on it, but yeah, 24 to 30.
So for an extra $10, if I have just the
Yeah.
confidence in my head, probably any jig will work. But if I have the confidence in my head that I
Yeah,
know
the-
this one is work for an extra $10, I'm
Yeah, now you
game
gotta-
on. I'll buy these all day long.
You gotta get them. So they're available on Amazon website. Some tackle shops carry them, but not much. I haven't really tried to push it on tackle shops.
Do you get any orders? Surface iron is kind of a Southern California
Yeah, no,
deal.
for sure. Yeah.
But have you seen orders, especially because you're selling on Amazon, from across the country or maybe East Coast?
So Amazon, I don't really see where they go. I do fulfilled by Amazon, so I just send them stuff and then they handle the rest. But I have shipped some to the East Coast, but it's not like what compared to here. It's not. Everyone fishes them here, so this is like kind of the market it's geared into.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about fishing, but like other parts of the world or not the world, but other East Coast and other stuff like that. So I don't know what they could use it for.
The guys down in the Bay love them.
Yeah.
You go fishing down in Bay of LA. I
Yeah.
love
Oh yeah.
fishing
Yeah.
Bay of LA.
Oh yeah. For sure. Like everything down here, Bay of LA, they got all surface iron. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get out. I went last year and
How was it?
it was fun. It was interesting. It was a long drive.
Yeah.
I went down there and it was we went with Fish Arm, so it's Ishmael.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
He's a good guy. Yeah, no, it was fun. I wish the fish were a little bigger. We caught probably like 20 pounders, nothing more than 20. But they have told me they have been getting like smaller and smaller every year. But I do wish they're a little bigger. But it was fun. We caught them on our, I took all my slow pitch setups.
Oh, nice.
And then I didn't bring the slow pitch jigs, but I made some brass slow pitch jigs. So I was just using those and just hooking up. And then I took my dad. He doesn't really fish, but he wanted to go check out, Bay of LA.
Yeah.
So then he was able to, they're just dropper loop of 100 pounds and put a macro
Pull
on
as
there.
hard
and
as you
just
can.
hold on. And then he's just catching big ass yellowtail. I'm like, damn, he has it easy.
So when I go, I'll kind of lay out my setup that I like to use for this specific iron.
All right.
If I'm fishing yellowtail, which in Bay of LA, you're primarily fishing yellowtail,
all yellows over there.
chasing bird schools, chasing, structure spots and just blind casting.
Yeah.
I fish a Seeker 540. It's albino.
540. You use a 10-footer?
It's massive. It's got to be a 10-foot. It looks like a VHF antenna. Everybody calls it the VHF. It's white, right? So
Nice.
it looks like you have two VHF antennas. But I know with a Torium 20 full of 50, I do a little bit of backing of braid just in case you hook a big one or whatever.
Never know.
And then I'll do 50-pound first string Iser. I know I can whip this thing a mile.
And tighten down the drag on that thing.
And you can lock the drag. I fish a Torium 20 on it. You can lock the drag as hard as possible. You're not going to break the line. You're not going to bend the hook.
I know, right? Just muscle them in. And
you just pull hooks. That's like your worst option with that combo. So it's really, really fun.
That sounds good. You got it down for sure. You're the I know you've caught a lot of fish on these things. But yeah, no, it's cool to make the lures. Lures have been because with the clamps it's kind of like you just buy one, you leave it there. The lures, they can be like, you lose them. If you like them, you buy another one. Or there's a lot of color variations and cool stuff with the lures. So.
What's your most popular color for Southern California?
I mean, the mint's always.
The mint.
Yeah, these are like the easiest to paint. Well, I send these out for powder coating, so the paint's a little more durable.
Yeah.
These, I used to airbrush them, but painting is a really time-consuming. You need like space and everything. Yeah. So we moved shops. So we were in one location, and I was able to paint there. And we moved, this area is a little more dusty and stuff, so I haven't really been painting much. But I do plan on this coming year picking back up on the paint, getting them out there. And, people always like to see, like, I think this one was like the Dorado one.
Yeah.
Scrambled egg, blue and white, mint and white, like all those.
You have a mackerel one that I really, really
like.
The
mackerel one.
It's got just like the little
lines on
the mackerel.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I kind of lost touch with all those things, but I need to get it back together and start painting again. So it's coming soon.
so is the surface iron your most popular product that you sell?
No, for sure it's gonna be my clamps, just because I have these in like every tackle shop. My going door to door eventually paid off once they saw how it worked, and like they could only carry 2 sizes, and it covers like every other clamp any other clamp that's out there. Like they have like 5 or 6, 7 sizes. You just buy 2 of these and it covers, across the board. So it's a no brainer for tackle shops. Like you carry this clamp and you're set. And especially with this one coming out, it's just like you carry these. These that come in 3 sizes just based on the rod diameter.
Yeah.
But yeah, you cover those and you're good. So for sure the clamp's the most popular. Then I also make I didn't bring any with me, but the micro surface irons. Those have been I guess I have one on my keys here. Let's see. We'll show the camera here. You need a keychain, so there's a micro surface iron.
But people actually fish them. They actually catch fish on them.
You could, fish them for, I don't know, people have caught all sorts of things on them. I've seen like barracuda, bonita, freshwater bass, calicos, spotted bay bass, mackerel, trout.
It seems like the trout fishermen actually use it as a tool in their arsenal.
So it was funny when I made these. It's like usually in the off season, like this time of year, everything kind of like slows down, and you're kind of just like, what do I do? So now I use this time to like develop new stuff or make new stuff. So and then that year, my friend Eric from Easy Sport Fishing, he's like, dude, just make your iron smaller, and then like it'll work for trout. Cause I've never really trout fished. So he's like, it'll work. I'm like, all right, we'll give it a shot. So he like convinced me to make one.
Nice.
And then I made it, scaled it down, made one out of brass and aluminum, and then it just blew up. When I first made them, they were just like, I don't know how many I sold, but it was a lot.
Really?
It was then I just had to fulfill all the orders. I did like a pre-order, and then fulfilled all the orders, and then pretty much the way we knew it caught is I put them in. So pretty much with all my stuff, I just give it to people that are better fishermen than me, have them try it out and have them tell me. 'Cause I'm not the best fisherman. I'm just good at like making stuff. So I was like, here, you guys take it. If you guys like it, I'll make it.
Yeah.
So and then, I made the micro surface irons, and then they caught some trout, and then, it just blew up. And then I got into all sorts of like colors, having brass is like a little weighted. I made smaller ones, 1/8 of an ounce brass. Pretty much all sorts of sizes, and then I just put it on a keychain.
So with this iron, this is the Model 2. Does this start as just a block of aluminum, and then the
so
machine
it's pretty much just a giant square. So pretty much imagine this as a square, and then you just put it in the machine and then program it. First you design it the shape that you want and stuff, and then just plop it in the machine, and then those machines, they could cut like to the tolerances, like how perfect you want it, I guess. It's just like ridiculous what those machines can do. So for like a fishing lure, it's like it'll do it. It'll do it. Yeah, way overkill.
How long does it take to take this from a block of aluminum to a fishing lure?
Like painting, welding, all that stuff.
No, I would say just the cut down. Yeah.
I haven't made some in a while, but I would say like 7 or 8 minutes.
Oh wow, it's pretty fast.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. So the more you can put in the machine, it's Yeah, I'd say like 7-8 minutes.
Wow.
Depends on your tooling, like how many you put in the machine. The more you try to fit in there, it's you know, obviously crank them out a little faster.
I can lose them faster than 7 to 8 minutes.
I
The
know,
faster than you
right?
can make them. I can lose them
I
faster.
know, right? Well, it's funny because it's like there was a store here in Santa Ana, the Gear Coop, but they had, you know, all the Mad Max in stock. So I sent him a picture of like everything they had. He's like, just buy all of them.
Really?
So I'm like, all right. And then like I probably spent like $3,000. Like I bought all their stuff. I think I just left. I left a few, but I pretty much bought everything.
Yeah.
Spent like $2,000-$3,000, and then just like took them down there. And then yeah, that was my first time seeing them in action, and it was just like I took two of my buddies with me. They don't really fish. And
how do those guys fish them? If you can explain.
so those guys, they just put them on like a 20 to 30 size reel, like Makaira would say. Just put some. They do like wind on leaders.
Okay.
Like 100-pound, 130-pound. They go up to 200. They put pretty much anything on there. Just throw the leader and they just tie it direct to the jig, and then
so no swivels, no crimps.
No swivels. Then they tell me like they always get like customers that they'll bring their Mad Max, and then they get them pre-rigged at the tackle shop. Yeah, just snip it right off and like tie it direct, and then that's how they say they've gotten the best luck. But yeah, we went down there, caught a bunch of fish, and then once you start seeing, you know, once they really caught on, you know, I was out fishing them too, and then we were just catching. There was days I hooked 13 fish.
Wow.
It's just, and we only landed like 4 of them. We like hooked 13 of those, which is crazy because it's like I've been the years prior and you don't catch anything.
Yeah.
But here I am, like just trolling, catching a bunch, and then yeah, so they found out they worked really well, and then I had some guys tell me like, oh, maybe you should make one like out of metal. So I was like, maybe. It seems kind of like it's too hard. So I'm like, I just like looked past it. And then once I started seeing guys like resell them for like $200, I'm like, you know, what the hell? These guys are paying this much money for the jig. Yeah, there's a demand for it. So then once I saw that, I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Let me like toy around with this, see what I could do. So then, yeah, I designed the first one. So I thought it was going to be as simple as just like, you know, 2 surface irons, screw them together, and then there's your jig. So I did that, took my boat out took it to the harbor, and, you know, threw it in the water to try to troll it. And that's just like swimming. I think it swam like, it was like this or something. I don't know what the hell it was doing. Like the tail was up. Yeah, it was horrible. I was like, what the hell? So then just got off the water like right away. Like, all right, let's go back to the drawing board. So then so my goal was to make them for like $80. Because I thought it'd be just like 2 of these screwed together. A little more work, but for the most part, just 2 of those, put them together. But then once I got into it, I was like, man, it was just a nightmare to get that first you know, Alumac. It was an 8-inch version.
Yeah.
So and then eventually, you know, I kept trying. So eventually I got one to swim, and then got it to. So once I posted it, probably like every captain like up and down the coast like hit me up like, hey,
I hit you up right away. As soon
as I saw it. Everyone hit me up. So it was insane. Like the feedback I got when I was first posting them. Everyone like wanted one. Everyone did this. I was like, all right, maybe, you know, I got something going here, so let's give it a shot. So then I sent some out to a lot of the captains. So mostly everyone that catches, that I think was catching fish, I'd send them a jig to give a shot. It was just the bare aluminum one. And then Billy K ended up being the first one he like snagged it in the head, but you know, he landed the fish. So I was stoked. I was like, oh, nice, he got one. After that, like some other guys were able to catch. So I was like stoked. So I was getting ready to start making them. And then that's when like the whole Nomad thing happened. Like, oh, they sent me an email saying like, oh, you know, we have a patent on the design, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, Nomad reached out to you after they saw your product.
Yeah. So they saw that it was, you know, they saw the finished product. People were like posting it everywhere. And then I was like, all right. So then they got word of it. They saw it and I was like, damn. So they sent me the email. I'm like, shit, you know.
It's like a cease and assist?
Yeah, or? I don't know. I guess you could call it that. But yeah, so then I thought I would have been fine to keep making them. I thought it was different enough to where I shouldn't have had any issues if we went to like court. But obviously you don't want to deal with all that.
Sure.
I'm like, all right, so I'll make some changes. So then made some changes, changed the design here and there to make it more, you know, user friendly. And then, yeah, they wanted to also like for me to make them for them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't know. I don't really want to. I don't know. I just didn't want to go that route.
Sure.
So I was like, I'll just keep doing it myself. And I just changed the design a bit. got it to where I liked it. And then, yeah, just kept fishing them. They catch fish. And then it was cool to see them. You were able to sell them for $200 to, get them out there. That's how much they cost to make. Super expensive, like the aluminum, the machining.
Oh, this thing
And
is a work of art.
as you're going, it's just like you're having a problem with this, you're having a problem with this, you're having a problem with this. Like every detail needed to be like adjusted and fixed to get the final to what you see now. I guess is what the finished product of hours hours and hours of work. It wasn't as easy as just like Mad Mac metals. Like nah.
Yeah, the way the hooks attach into this lure is pretty interesting. Can you talk a little bit
so
about that?
Was so at first I tried putting them like integrated into the design, like use the aluminum to hold it. But turns out like I trolled it and like the aluminum was like melting. It was like wearing away because you troll so fast.
Oh, with
like
that metal constantly.
Yeah, so these rings would like if it was on the aluminum, it like wore it down to where like 30 minutes of trolling, 20 minutes of trolling, like wore that thing down to like, it would have just eventually just cut straight through.
Wow.
So yeah, those were all like problems we had as we were like coming up. And then, so eventually I guess to what you see now, it's just the stainless steel inserts. They stick out of the lure, nothing touches the body. Everything's all secure. We've had these tested to like pull them, see when they'd break. So the rings, they'd break like at 500 pounds. Which is like more than enough, but the jig broke like at 1,000 pounds. So it's like, wow, rock solid. Nothing should be able to to break the jig. Yeah. And it's so I'm sure you've bent a hook out before you do anything to the lure. And then
I think what's really cool about your lure is, fishing other high speed trolling lures. You catch a fish, you slide the fish on the deck. If that fish does one head shake, that lure does not swim the same.
That's pretty much why they made these. Is like same reason they said like, okay, they were breaking fast. You catch like one or two big fish. What happens is they split open and water gets in the back. And once water's inside, you're like screwed. So
it affects the way it tracks.
So it gets too heavy or whatever it does. So that's why we made these, they catch a bunch of fish on them. They'll still keep chugging along.
With a 10-inch, we'll call it a high-speed trolling lure.
Yeah.
What size wind-on leader? Because I like to fish them on a wind-on leader as well. What size wind-on leader do you like?
Honestly, I've done everything. I just do what the guys in Ensenada tell me to do, and I do it. Because I've used 200-pound, only like a 10, 25-yard leader.
Yeah.
And tied direct to the jig. That's been my kind of go-to. But, I mean, you could go 150 with like 75 yards or... I don't know. I've kind of just... As long as it's mono, it's a wind-on leader, they have it tied professionally, they shouldn't have any issues.
So how I like to do it is I like to have a 100-pound braid.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little thinner than the 130, right? Yeah. I do a 100-pound braid, and then I do a wind-on leader. I really like those AFCO. They make like a fluorocarbon pre-tied
all right, so you just slap that on
leader.
There.
I slap that on there, Bimini, and then to that wind-on leader, and then I just direct tie to them, and it seems to be the easiest way.
That's how I do it, man. To do it. Yeah, braid, wind on. I just use a uni knot, tie it straight there, and then you're good. You could cut it a bunch of times and retie it. Every time you usually catch a fish, just retie the knot. It does get a little frayed, so.
Yeah, with a $200 lure, you're gonna want to retie definitely, every time.
Yeah, retie your knots, and then make sure you don't lose the jig. But surprisingly enough, I've never lost a troller like on a fish.
Oh, why would you go and say that?
Yeah, it's funny. I talk to people and they're like, "Oh, I've lost so many, Mad Max." Or I don't know anyone that has told me they've lost one. Or actually, funny story. Matt, so I gave a bunch of the prototypes away, right? And then I think there was one person that said they hooked one, and I think it was Vinny with the Bite Sport Fishing.
Mm-hmm.
They hooked one and they lost it. Also, a Wet Willy, one of those two. It had to be one of them. They hooked a fish and they lost it. They lost the jig.
Oh no!
So I'm like, okay, whatever. It was a prototype. I got bit, so I was like stoked. And then another buddy of mine, like 2-3 months later, his name was Matt. They were deep dropping for, not deep dropping, just night fishing for bluefin.
Mm-hmm.
He caught a tuna and it had a prototype in its mouth.
No way.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what are the odds of, that happening?
It had your lure that somebody had lost.
in its mouth.
In its
Yeah.
mouth.
So he
No
like showed
way.
he sent me a picture of like of the jig. I'm like, what the hell? Like, there's no way that it's just crazy how how they stuck around, and then
Yeah.
for someone to catch that fish and to get one of these out of their mouth is
That's a
crazy.
prize fish. $200. You
Not
catch fish with a $200 lure
it
in
was
it.
crazy when they when he sent me the picture. It was just I just saw him like, what the hell? That's so random. So I had to be one of those two guys that lost it. Maybe
Wow.
someone else, but I think it was one of them. And they because there was only like 10 lures out there at the time when when they said they lost it.
Yeah.
There was only a handful out there, and then to see it pop up somewhere else was like.
So no one hasn't been lost. If we got that one back,
Yeah, no, I'm sure some have been lost, but to get that one back, well, he still has it, but it was it's a weird story.
So I've seen on your Instagram, you have a great Instagram, by the way. It shows all your products.
Yeah,
It's really
trying to get it going.
crisp and clear images of what they do. I've seen guys on the East Coast are now using these for wahoo, right?
Yeah, so that's the goal too. Is we're trying to introduce them because they're more than just like a bluefin tuna, SoCal lure. So you could troll them for wahoo. Wahoo. Some guy, Bob Hovey down in Louisiana, he's been trolling these. So I sent him some last year, and he did pretty well with them. He said he got like 4 for 7 on the wahoo.
Wow.
So he's been killing it. So we sent him a bunch of lures to, keep it going, try to catch as many as he can. But he really likes them. They catch them, they could slap them on the deck and then just throw them back out there.
Well, we've all seen the marauders that come back and they're just like sawed in half.
Yeah, they get some crazy stuff happens. Now those fish are strong. Their teeth are, sharp, and they'll go through like 4 or 5 lures.
This seems like a great alternative though, because I don't feel like a wahoo is going to saw.
Yeah, so all you do, like I've seen the lures, they just get like scratch marks, but there's no like, no significant damage. Like you'll for sure. I don't know. I can't really find a way to break these things. It would be really tough.
Let me handle that. I'll figure out how to break it.
It'll be tough, but yeah, they're good lures. They're solid. So we're trying to just get them out there. We went out to ICAST last year.
Oh, nice. How was that?
Yeah, it could have been better. I guess it's I don't know. I guess if you go there, you got to be like ready to go talk to everyone. You got to be really like out there. That's just not how I am. But hopefully this next year I could get out there and get the right people to go do that for me.
Did you have a lot of interest in the lure from guys that maybe had never seen it?
There's interest, but just the price point kind of turns people away, which I understand. But it's I can't really make them any cheaper.
Well, that's interesting to me because if you look at swim bait bass fishermen, right, they're fishing a trophy fish.
Yeah.
For the bluefin, we're fishing. This is considered a trophy fish, 100-pound fish.
That's my whole thought process when I was making these. I was like, people spend on like bass fishing. I've seen them spend $200-$300. $150 to like $250, $300, whatever amount. Like people will spend the money for like those bass fishing. But I guess
they're throwing it on 20-30-pound mono.
Yeah,
right?
No, it's crazy to me. So seeing that was like, I knew there was hope. If I made this, okay, there's hope. And I see people spending $200 on the lures now. So I was like, okay, there's no brainer. I'll be able to sell them. But I guess to sell them consistently is more of has been the challenge. And getting them into like tackle shops and convincing people that, okay, you do spend the money. And more than anything, it's made here. Because like to make them overseas and stuff, that's pretty much how like 90%, probably 99% of all like trolling lures and fishing lures, they're all made overseas. Like anything you see in the tackle shops, like
I love it's an American made fishing product.
Yeah, we make them here, and then it's not cheap, not cheap, but it's we put a lot of effort into it. So it comes out nice, and we're trying to get them out there, but slowly but surely they'll get out there.
Let's switch gears a little bit. You were fishing this lure, and you had a viral moment.
We went overboard.
Break down the story of that, because it was hilarious. I was dying. I watched that 5 times.
Yeah, no, that was so that one's a really interesting story. It was probably like the best fish that I've caught was that one. So it was during the time where I was getting ready for ICAST. So I really wanted to get like poster boards of like the jig in like a tuna's mouth. Cause I didn't get that prior. I didn't really take like professional pictures or anything.
Yeah.
I'd caught fish, but I didn't get like the good shot. So I was like, damn, I need to get, a good shot to take over to ICAST to get on a nice like poster and stuff.
Oh, you got it.
Oh yeah. So then I also was designing the 10-inch version. And then I think it was earlier this year. So I finished designing it like in April. Or probably like March I finished designing it. So and then I was trying to get so also with the jigs that I sell, it's like I always try to, has to catch fish before I start selling anything.
Sure.
So, and then this was out in April. Yeah, I hit up the Mara Sport Fishing. I went down there once I finished the design. And then this year, they were like in a funk for whatever reason, like early on. And then that first day we went, got skunked. We saw fish, but they just weren't biting. We tried everything. We tried these. We tried spreader bars. Tried everything, and it's nothing.
It's bluefin.
Yeah, so then I was like, damn. So I got skunked, came back. This was back like April. And then, so then I eventually started making some more, got some painted, got them pretty much dialed in. And then, the show was coming up. I still hadn't caught a fish on them. I'm like getting ready to sell them because I knew they swam good because you could put a camera down there.
Yeah.
And I see they're trolling straight, they're trolling fast, they're vibrating. Everything's good. I just got to catch a fish with them. And then, so I was like, I think it was like in June, the first week of June. I was going to go down there. My fiance, we're going to go with their family down there. And I was like, all right, I'll go. But I didn't plan on going fishing. And then she was telling me that, we're going to go spend time with her family and then just come straight back. And then I see on Friday night, Josue from Mars Sport Fishing, he posts like, oh, I have a panga available Sunday. And I was like, damn, I was like sitting on my stairs, like, should I do it? So I was like, whatever. So I texted him like, oh, like, let's do it. I'll book the trip. So then the next morning I go to the shop, get a bunch of these, get all my fishing gear, get everything, and, go straight down. So we get there Saturday, we spend the day with her family. So then the next day, we go fishing. So my aunt lives down there. So I usually stay with her, and she's just like, we're like 10 minutes from the launch ramp. So yeah, we get out there, take all my stuff with me. So it's just me and him on the boat. And then he's telling me that, they've been struggling catching like bluefin. They haven't been biting like they were this last year. So I was like, damn, I didn't want to get skunked again because I had gone like 2 months prior to that. And then, we get out there, we're fishing. I think around like 8 or 9, he gets a call from like one of the guys. They hooked one. 2 guys hooked some on the Mad Max. So I was like, damn. And then we were like 20 minutes out. We went another direction. We find some fish. We're trolling the lures. There's like one spot we trolled like right through them and then like nothing. So I'm like, God damn, like don't tell me it's going to happen again. So and then, we don't catch anything. So we start going back to where they caught theirs. And then, finally just trolling, bam, hook up on the a pink 10-inch one. So I was stoked. So we fight it, land it, take some good pictures. And then after that, same thing, put the lures back in the water, start trolling. Then we get a double hookup within those like 5 minutes. We hook one, I think it was both on the 10-inch ones.
Nice.
And then, we're fighting that fish. And then it just pops right out. Like one of them pops off. So then we're just fighting the one. So I guess this is where I went overboard. So I have the fighting the rod or fighting the fish. I tightened the drag like all the way because we already had caught one. So I wanted to see like, okay, how much drag can I put before like anything fails? Yeah. So I decided, and we had 200-pound mono tied straight on. So I could go as like tight as I want. So I tightened the full drag, fighting the fish. And then I get it close. So you could see in the video, like I'm like fighting the fish. I think he's like adjusting the camera or something. So I pull, the fish like comes in, and like I told him it's like ready to gaff. I was like I iced that, and then he goes, but he's like looking at the camera, and then the fish decides to like dive under, and then I'm like leaning forward, and then like you could see on the pangas, they're not like straight up and down, the whatever they're called. They're like gunnels. The gunnels. They're a little angled. So then like I lean forward to like compensate, and then the rod goes up and it catches on my bib. And then it just freaking launches me over. So I'm just like flip straight over. And I remember thinking just like, damn, like you're going in, So I just, head first in the water. And then I remember thinking like, as long as I'm not like getting dragged through the water, like I don't feel that I'm being pushed. Like I'm not letting go of the setup. That thing's expensive. One of the adjusted butt rods.
Oh yeah.
So that was probably like a $1,500 setup. Like $2,000 setup. And then, I was just thinking, okay, I'm not letting go. So I think what happens is the fish like took off this way. He was doing like his circle. So he came back around. So it kind of went slack. So I wasn't getting dragged. And then I just had like one hand holding on the rod and like one hand in the air, like hope you could like get me. And then sure enough, he like grabs me, like pulls me up. And then he's just like, oh, where's the rod? Where's the rod? I'm like, all right, here, like take the rod. And then he just gets the setup and then he starts fighting the fish. And then
and you're still in the water.
I was still in the water, so my arms were like when your forearms start burning because it's only us two, and we're reeling in these, from reeling in the jigs to fighting the first fish, And to fighting this one, my forearms are like done, so I can't even like lift myself back in the boat. So he just puts it in the rod holder and I go to the other side of the boat. It's fine. He just like grabs me by my bib and just like lifts me up like a little kid, just like throws me on the deck. And then
it's a fantastic video.
Yeah, so we get on the boat, like get straight back to like fighting the fish. And then yeah, we just bring it close, he gaps it, and then it was funny because he put his camera to record the whole thing. Like I didn't know it was recording. And then he told me like, "Oh, I got the whole thing on video." I'm like, "Oh, damn!" So once we saw the videos, it was funny, man. Once he had it posted up, it was.
It's gotten millions of views.
Yeah, like 2 million views.
That's pretty awesome.
It's crazy, man. It was and then it was fun, man. Just having like that whole experience, landing the fish.
How big was the fish?
I was probably like 80 to 100, I guess.
You got pulled in by an 80-pounder?
Yeah, no, it was funny because we thought it was like a 200-pound fish because it was fighting like crazy, and then once we saw it, we're like, what the hell? This thing's tiny. But yeah, no, it took me overboard. And then, I posted the video up. And then after that, got a lot of exposure to like the jigs and all this stuff. And I was just stoked that I was able to catch fish on the jig before I started to sell it. So that whole combination of things was just like,
what a time for it to pop off.
Yeah, so
right
it was just good.
guess.
Yeah, so then I got all the pictures I needed. And then we kept fishing after that. We hooked another one.
Wow.
On the 8-inch one.
Biting.
And then we ended up going home by like 11, and we had outfished all the other pongas that were trolling the Mad Max. So we outfished them on my jig. It was cool. That the whole experience was just really cool. That
after that was he like, I need a bunch of these?
Yeah. So I gave him a bunch. So he's been really good. Like he's giving me. So I've given a lot to a lot of captains here, but I haven't really gotten the feedback that I wanted. There's a handful like Andrew from Stoked on Fishing. He's been really helpful. Tanner, the Wet Willie guy, they caught some. There's a lot of guys that have caught with them and gave me like good feedback.
Nice.
But a lot of guys I sent them, but then it just like disappeared. it sucks, it was like a part of the business, I guess. But then Josue and Mara Sport Fishing, he gave me a lot of feedback. Like he likes this configuration, he likes this, change this. And
what's the best way? I think it's a great learning opportunity to go down there, fish with those guys, come back here, implement it into your SoCal program. Yeah. What's the best way that they can reach Mara Sport Fishing?
Just through Instagram, just hit them up, and then it's a good time down there. It's not too far from from the border.
Yeah,
that's the only like downsides coming back from the border. But yeah, hit them up. They're really inexpensive. You go for a ponga for like 4 or 5 guys, you're probably gonna spend like $200 each.
That's awesome.
It's just like a full day here in San Diego. But yeah, head down there. They have lodging.
Yeah.
You get
Mara's offers lodging.
Yeah, so they have
cool.
They have a spot for you to stay. It's probably like $50 a night.
Wow.
Yeah, get down there, take all your gear, or they have gear. You just hop on the pongas, go out fish. All the times I've gone, the fish have been within like 10 miles from.
Oh, that's awesome.
From the coast,
right outside the islands.
Yeah, we're out there like in an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. We're on fish already, and every time I've gone, I've had a good time down there. So whoever wants to go, go with Mara Sport Fishing. He's a good captain. He has a lot of pongas too, so they're all working together, networking, trying to find the fish. So like one ponga finds it, they'll all go and
That's what I love about Mexico is you can go, especially like Bay of LA. People are fishing 10 feet apart. No one's yelling.
Yeah.
You get 10 feet apart from a boat here in California.
You're throwing stuff at each other.
Oh, man. I'm looking in the boat. What kind of lead weights we got? I can hook over. Right. In Mexico, I'm throwing beers across.
Yeah, it's a good time in Mexico. And it's just, I don't know, it's nice down there. Nice to get out there.
So what's next? What do you have coming down the pipeline for Duran's fishing products?
So what's next? We kind of got like a new surface iron here. So my goal is to make like a skinnier and lighter one, easier to make, no holes in the back. I don't know. I just gotta fish them and try them. We have this. So usually in the off season, it gets like super slow. So we have like a pocket knife coming out soon. So
very
kind
cool.
of sell year round.
And is this made in the same CNC machine?
Yeah. So I mean, you could take a look at it. Yeah. So it's all. I've always been into like, I guess not really into knives, but I've always seen them.
Yeah.
So the finished product will be made out of titanium, stainless steel blades, all that stuff. So I've always seen a bunch of people make them. I've just always wanted to make one. So in the off season, I have time to do whatever.
so another product that I don't see here on the table is the tuna spike.
Oh yeah, I make the tuna spikes as well. So I guess same thing. I saw they're out there, like I can make it. So made some tuna spikes. We made a titanium one. We used to make some really nice titanium ones. They're all anodized, cool colors. But now the same thing. They're really pricey. and they take a lot of time to make. So it's not really something that I focused on, but I'll probably get back into that soon.
So when you first started machining products and everything, did you ever see yourself growing into your own business and taking it
Nah,
under your
I
own?
mean, I saw that I was gonna like make my own stuff. I just didn't know what I would make, and I guess now I could, I look back and I see all the stuff we have. So we just got our second. Well, we got it last year. Our second CNC machine. So we got two dedicated to like all our stuff. So we're able to make. I got to make more stuff to keep both machines busy.
Yeah.
So, but no, I never thought I would. No, I never saw it coming. I never thought I'd make a fishing lure. I never thought I'd make like fishing products in general. So to actually start doing it and then be able to buy my own boat, get out there, and it's been fun. Fish your own stuff out there, to meet new people, a lot of cool manufacturers. The guys that really got me like going was like Seeker when I was doing that whole like door to door sales thing. I remember
Yeah.
I stopped by their facility in Orange. I just walked in there. I'm like, oh, I got a reel clamp, and then Rick and Ed there were like, yeah, we like it. Like, let's see what we could do. So they started. I think during that time they were doing what was it called? The Fred Hall shows in San Diego.
Okay.
So that was the first show I did that they let me get a corner of their booth, and they just let me like do my thing in the corner. So like, yeah, I'll never forget those times that they helped me out. They took me on board and they helped me push the clamps. So it was good that they helped push them because they fit well with their stuff.
Yeah, I feel
And
like Seeker rods are traditionally thicker. They're a traditional style jig stick, and this is a perfect product to
yeah, for those
use
rods.
with that.
So yeah, no, it was great that they really helped me push them, and then they I've supported them ever since they've supported me. So it's like I said, cool to meet new people, network, all sorts of captains, and just it's cool to be in the part of the fishing industry. So I liked fishing, so now being a part of it, learning from other people, seeing what else is out there, it's been a fun journey.
It was fun running into you a couple times this year out on the water.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
you're with
no.
your girl. Is that your
Yeah,
girlfriend or your wife?
fiance now, yeah.
Fiance. Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations!
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
we made it happen this year.
nice. Yeah, it was fun running into you guys because I'm like, hey, there's Edward.
I know,
you
yeah, I
know?
was out there. Yeah, I got that was my first like big Dorado we caught here. So we just saw some splashes. They were just like moving bait. They were chasing bait, so they were just you saw the bait like come up. I'm like, I'm just gonna throw a surface iron here. So I threw a bare aluminum one, and you just see like 4 or 5 like big ass Dorados like all chasing it, and then one hits it. I land it. I just wish there was someone else on the boat that could also like cast a jig out there because we would have landed like
Got a couple more.
4 or 5, like 10, 15. I think that one was 17 pounds.
Wow, nice.
So being a SoCal, like 17 pound is that's pretty big. So
Yeah.
it was cool to get some.
I remember that specific day. I drove around. I saw bait. I saw small.
Yeah, you
fish.
were out there.
I went way out to like Mackerel Bank. Came back in. I went all the way around.
Yeah.
And you left at like 1:00.
Yeah,
and
I
you
got
hit
a
me
late start. Yeah,
hit me up like, yeah, we just threw a Dorado on the deck. I go, dude, didn't you leave at like 1:00?
yeah, and I got it right off the right outside of I think it was like Dana Point or Newport, right in the middle. I forgot the numbers, but yeah, I just saw him there. That was the last thing I expected. So
cool,
it was cool to see. It was one of those fish that you don't expect to get. But yeah, landed it. Went back in, had dinner at the docks there, somewhere in the one of the restaurants there. And yeah, just called it a day. It was a good day.
Nice. So anything else with your company that you want to, maybe people do wrong with the Alumimac or they have issues with that you, being that you build these jigs, you can help with?
Not really. I mean, these are pretty straightforward, just 100-pound mono, 150, 200, whatever, just mono tied direct. You could troll them.
Is this your preferred hook?
Yeah, so I've learned that, having the big treble on the back helps them stick. Some guys like to run the dual trebles, but I've seen this has worked pretty well for me. Yeah, just troll them like 12 to 14 knots.
One thing that
probably 11.
One thing that changed my fishing with the high-speed trolling lures was I was fishing them too close. As soon as
send them
literally
way back there.
the day that I said I was fishing a TAC 50, and I was like, I'm gonna just dump this thing to halfway.
Man,
and see
it's
what happens.
crazy how far they like the guys in Ensenada. I've seen them. You're just like, he has me send them back. I'm like, is this good? He's like, no. Send them out there. Don't be scared to send them out for like 20, 30 seconds out there.
I'll do 45 a minute.
Yeah,
at speed. I like 13. 13 seems to be my sweet spot. It's hard to keep it there, but
13, 14 miles per hour, or around there.
So do those guys fish 2 in a spread for the
those guys, they'll put 3 out there if they 2 on the sides and then 1 down the middle. But smaller boats kind of tough just because it's they'll keep the middle one close and then the 2 outsides, way back.
Okay, so they're fishing 2 on the outside. Let's say I fished one on an LP and I just put it at 1,000.
Yeah.
But let's say they're 2 at 1,000, and then how far is that middle one?
That one's probably like 50 yards. Like it's super close. They're
so pretty
more than
the
likely. They're more than likely not going to catch with that one. But he just has it there. Just you never know. They've had triple hookups. They've done it all, so they know more than I do. Whatever they say, I'm like, that's the law.
One issue I've seen with the high-speed trolling lure thing is, a spot of fish is up on the surface.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them, say I'm watching them in the gyros. They'll make a turn. Guys don't realize how far back that lure actually is.
Yeah.
They'll make a turn and they'll if this is the foamer or spot of fish, they'll make a turn way wide and then keep turning, and they just end up dragging their lure around
and then just go straight out. Yeah, no, they're hauling ass when they're turning too. They're going like 20 miles per hour, just like wrapping the fish.
So they're speeding up on the turn.
Yeah, so I guess the lure's not really being dragged at that point once you start turning, so it's kind of just like hanging out. And I've seen on the cameras too, like when you do that, you go out and you're doing like aggressive turn, the lure's not really going full speed. It's kind of just like hanging out there. Or it depends how aggressive your turn is.
Yeah.
And then once you hit the turn and then you get the line tight again, that thing just like takes right off. So yeah, I've seen how they do. They go, they're hauling ass on the turn and they just come down to speed and they just go straight. And yeah, those guys just hook up like crazy over there. It's cool to see.
I think the wrong way, there may not be a wrong way to do it, but I see a lot of guys just circle around fish.
No, because then your lure, because I've seen it on the camera, that your lure is never getting the right action. Like you have to be going straight. There has to be tension on the line to like make that lure, get that vibrating action that they, for whatever reason, they like it. So
well, awesome, man. Cool. Well, thanks for sitting down. Anything else you want to share with us?
No, I guess all our stuff's on Amazon, our website. Local tackle shops. If you guys ever need anything, feel free to reach out. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I've reached out a couple times, and you're very good to reply on DMs. What's your Instagram so people can follow
Duran's
you?
Fishing Products. So pretty straightforward. Duran's Fishing Products. Yeah, you need custom engraving. We also do like custom engraving on all our reel clamps. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you ever have any questions or problems with anything, just reach out to me. We'll always help someone out. And it's a small community, so yeah. And I'm in Santa Ana. If they ever need anything, swing by. And
you're right here.
Yeah, close by, and it's just get ready for the next season. We'll be at all the trade shows this year.
Very cool.
We'll be at the PCS. I don't know about the Bart Hall, Fred Hall ones, but PCS will be there. We'll have our booth set up, and we'll have just come on down. You want to see all the stuff we got? We'll have everything there.
Very cool. All right, man. Well, thank you, Edward, for sitting down with us. Be sure to like and subscribe. We're now on Apple. Follow us on Apple. Leave us a review, even if it says, hey, this podcast is whatever. Give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it. And we will see you on the next one. Thank you.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having us.